Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our presentation. My name is Vonnie Lee, and I will be presenting the next few slides for you. For this slide, I will be sharing with you our quality checklist for our Progress Report 3. Our quality checklist is a less detailed but more timeline version of the work breakdown structure that was introduced in our previous Progress Report. Here we have a checklist to help ensure us that we stay focused and on time to complete the next phase of our project and to ensure that everything is completed and we are able to move in by October 1st. We have had some delays, such as some of our new equipment being delayed by 3 weeks, which will cause a slight delay with making sure everything is installed and running and working properly. On top of those delays, we have also run into a network issue, which I will go into more details on the next slide. But even with these delays, we are still optimistic that we can have a successful completion date of October 1st. As stated in my last slide that we have had some issues. So due to some technical and structural issues, we have discovered that we will need a new solution for our network access. Here I have suggested 3 options for us to consider for internet access for all employees. This is a simple table showing the options of Wi-Fi, would be the easiest option as most computers have Wi-Fi capabilities built in. But this option can also be prone to more security risks due to hackers. We have wired routers. This option would provide more security and would not reduce any bandwidth speeds, but would require the purchase of multiple routers for each cubicle or for groups of cubicles. The last option I have included is for Ethernet cabling, which would run directly from the modem supplied by our internet provider. This, which would be the most secure option, as these modems have built-in firewalls. But this option would require running more cables across the entire floor or the building, which would be an additional project in itself. I have included a more detailed PowerPoint presentation that goes into more details for everyone to review. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charlene Canty, and I'm going to give a summary of my report for whether or not the decision to include the staff move-in as part of our renovation was a reasonable one. After reviewing the overall progress on the project, I believe that the decision to include the staff moving as part of the renovation was reasonable. Establishing a move-in date helped set an end goal for the team project, which in turn helped determine the schedule, the necessary resources, and their associated costs. And this also gave us a better sense of the reality of meeting our overall goals. This decision also helped us determine a path for project completion and gave us a better idea of how much slack we had in our schedule when it came to meeting our planned milestones. Having the move-in included in the schedule also helped us prepare for unforeseen problems, such as the missing conduit and the late PC delivery. Previous activities included in our schedule, such as establishing the milestone list and maintaining the list register, all helped put us in a better position to meet our October 1st deadline.
Hello, this is Nicole Shepard, and I am here to present my part to our EMR project, the Project Management Group effort. This is in regards to our EMR implementation project, and I looked at the risk register and looked at the probability and impact severity. As we can see by this simple breakdown, the impact as it increases with the probability, the amount of importance increases. As you can see up here, 25 in red is the highest measure um, of, of impact, and definitely an area of risk that we need to look at more closely. And in specifics to our particular program, our particular project, are two highest priority level situations involve the conduits not being equipped to handle necessary voltage cables, and then the PC shipment being delayed. So as we can see, we looked at the impact level and then the probability level, and it came up with our priority level. So starting off with the conduits, the installation was not performed in a way that would allow us to handle the necessary low voltage cables that we need for our network connection. So this means that our computers will not be able to connect to the network. Network connection is necessary for the work capabilities of the staff. The impact level is high because, of course, if the staff can't work, then that's a problem. The probability rate is high because this has already happened. The conduits have not been laid down. So this is definitely the highest priority level issue that we need to address. So it can either be resolved by the landlord, can have the installation team run additional conduit lines, or the PMO can look into the possibility of possibly a wireless connection to the network so we can totally avoid those lines. And who would be responsible for that will be the PMO and the landlord. Moving on to our next priority level issue is the fact that the PC shipments were delayed 3 weeks, so now they will only arrive 3 days before the projected move-in of the EMR team. So this is difficult because it doesn't give us enough time to have the install staff set up the computers and test for issues before the incoming staff come in. And the incoming EMR team won't be able to work once arriving on site if the computers are not able to be functional. So impact level, of course, is very high. If the staff can't work, probability level is high because, again, we have been told that this is an actual delay. So one way that we can probably avoid this or find a workaround is maybe the PMO can approve overtime for all the installation staff to get the computers up and running in the short time window. And maybe additional staff can be brought in to help with the computer setup. And also another alternative could be the PCs from the other company could be purchased and set up for temporary access or emergency use in case the standard PCs are not ready in time. So that could be a workaround. And the PMO, of course, would be responsible for overseeing this. And then the PC intern could look into the possibility of these other computers, see if we can get those in here sooner and up and running. And then also the PC install team can let us know if this is something that could actually happen or not. And that concludes my part of our presentation. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'll be going over one of the 7 basic tools of quality. For this presentation, I've decided to create a fishbone diagram to identify possible causes for a problem and ask the why to brainstorm how to create better outcomes for the project. So we did find out that the PCs will be delayed because of the processor chip plant in Singapore. There was a fire, and so that's going to delay us, which is going to hold us up. We do have other options for a brand of desktop that could be ordered. However, to keep continuity, we decided to stay with the same brand to minimize maintenance in the long run. And then for the people that will be impacted, the PC team scheduled is for 10 days to set up and install the desktop computers. This would create a delay of desktops. It will either push the EMR team start date out, or it will only require the PC team 3 days to set up all of the desktops for the facility. And then, of course, there is the materials. What materials will be needed to complete the setup of these PCs? We do know that the desks will need to be set up for this, and also we have found that there is an outlet issue. There's also the measurement of time. So the the PCs that were ordered are already 3 weeks delayed. So the 10 days that we were going to be able to set these desktops up versus the 3 days that we'll have left to set it up, assuming that they're not held up any further. The PCs won't get set up in time, and the worst case scenario is without these PCs, our EMR team can't even begin their project. Then lastly, there is the environmental aspect of it. Setting up the PCs in a 3-day span will be rushed, and this is clearly a recipe for disaster. Rushing a PC setup could cause delays beyond the original start date. However, because of the rush, pertinent files or programs could be improperly installed or not completely secure. And for a database that's meant to house patient information, those aspects of that are very imperative.
My name is Olivia, and I'll be presenting the possible scenarios to ensure on-time start. So as I'm sure you are all aware that our PCs are running late, about 3 weeks late, and we're not scheduled to get them until September 28th, which only gives us 3 days from the October 1st start date to set them up, when originally we needed 10 days for that. So we've compiled 3 different scenarios to ensure that we start on time. The first option is rent computers. So there's many companies out there that rent PCs and laptops to offices. So we can rent these computers to be ready for the deadline. And then once our main computers come in, we can set those up and give the rented computers back. Or we could buy from a different brand while we still wait for our computers. We can have these set up and be ready on time for the October 1st deadline. And then later these computers can be used if any problems ever occur with our other computers, or we need backup computers. That's one option. Or we can wait for the PCs and speed up the installation operation once they're arrived. So whether this means hiring some more staff or paying the staff that we already hired overtime to get this done within 3 days, which would be kind of tight, but is an option. So here we have our Gantt charts that are reflecting our new scenarios, and we can kind of compare them. So our renting PC scenario puts us at September 1st, gives us about 10 days till the 11th to set everything up, and then we can start the team move-in when the computers are done, and that puts our completed move-in at the 21st, and then we can meet our move-in date at October 1st. Then our buying the alternative brand still puts us at our same October 1st date. We purchase our alternative PCs, set those up by the 19th of September, and then start the move-in the next day and be moved in by the 30th for our ribbon cutting ceremony or completion the October 1st. Staff overtime. This one's going to be kind of close. So the PCs arrive as long as nothing else goes wrong. And then once the PCs arrives, we have 3 days for the setup, staff overtime. And then what we would do would start the team move-in even before the PCs arrive. That way the team can start moving in, set up the furniture, everything else can be covered. So once the PCs arrive, all we really have to do is set it up and then complete the team move-in on October 1st, which is our start date. So it'll be kind of close, but for all of them, but we have 3 options to choose to ensure our on-time start of October 1st.